FIFA is about to make $11 billion this summer, and you're paying for it, even if you never watch a single match. This isn't a conspiracy theory. These are the actual contracts that 11 American cities signed with FIFA. Contracts that most of them didn't even read carefully, and now the bill is coming due. To you. Yes, you as a normal taxpayer. In this video, I'm going to follow the money from this big competition. Who put up $5 billion to host the biggest sporting event on Earth? Who's actually making the profit? And why one mayor in the United States looked at the deal and said, "No, I'm not treating my taxpayers like dumb money." Section 1 is the franchise model. Here's how it normally works. A country hosts the World Cup through a local organizing committee. That committee absorbs the costs and shares in the revenue. Simple, right? But for 2026, FIFA changed the rules. For the first time in World Cup history, FIFA is running the tournament itself, directly. No middleman, no local committee. Think of it like this. Imagine you own a restaurant. McDonald's comes to you and says, "We want to operate out of your kitchen for a month. We keep all the money from the burgers, you pay for the electricity, the cleaning, the security, and the renovations. But don't worry, we'll put your restaurant on the map." That's the deal FIFA offered 11 American cities, and they said yes. Sounds like a terrible deal, right? It gets worse, and I'll tell you why. Section 2 is about the numbers. Let's put real numbers on this. FIFA expects to bring in $11 billion from this World Cup. $11 billion. From ticket sales, sponsorships, broadcasting rights, merchandise, all of it goes to FIFA. The operating budget is about $2.7 billion. That leaves more than $8 billion in pure revenue. Meanwhile, the 11 U.S. host cities are facing a collective shortfall of at least $250 million. That means they're spending more than they're getting back, by $250 million. And that's the optimistic estimate. New York City alone is spending roughly $70 million on police, emergency management, and small business support. The tax revenue coming back? At most, $55 million. That's a $15 million loss, and that's if everything goes perfectly. The federal government kicked in $625 million for security. That's your tax dollars, across all 50 states, paying for a tournament where FIFA keeps every cent of profit. Section 3, putting LA on the map. But here's where it goes from bad business to something almost comical. In 2021, FIFA executives toured American cities to pitch the hosting deal. At one meeting in Los Angeles, a senior FIFA official explained the terms. FIFA takes the revenue, cities handle the costs. Someone in the room raised their hand and asked, "So, what exactly do we get out of this?" The FIFA executive replied, "Hosting this tournament will put your city on the map." They said this about Los Angeles, Hollywood, the Oscars, the Grammys, Super Bowls, Olympic Games, and FIFA thought they were doing LA a favor. One person in that room told reporters, "What did he just say?" But one city saw through this before anyone else. The city that walked away was Chicago. When FIFA came knocking, Chicago's mayor at the time, Rahm Emanuel, actually read the contract, and he said something that every other mayor should have said. "Do you expect me to treat the Chicago taxpayers as the dumb money at the table? You've got to be kidding me." Chicago pulled out. No World Cup games. No $98 train tickets to stadiums. No $95 bus rides to venues they didn't ask for. No jail built specifically for World Cup arrests. Yes, Kansas City actually built a $25.8 million jail for this tournament. Chicago looked at the math and walked away. 11 other cities looked at the same math and signed. The tournament nobody came to. Here's the cruel part. The whole economic argument for hosting depends on one thing: visitors. Foreign visitors who fly in, spend money at hotels and restaurants and bars, and inject new cash into the local economy. That money from visitors? It's the only reason any city agrees to this deal. But as of May 2026, just weeks before the tournament, 80% of hotels across all 11 host cities reported bookings below their forecasts. In Boston, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Seattle, hoteliers described the World Cup as a non-event. FIFA had reserved massive blocks of hotel rooms, creating an artificial demand signal. Then they released half of it back to the market. Hotels had to slash their projections. And here's the thing about the visitors who do show up. If you live in New York and buy a $400 World Cup ticket, that's $400 you're not spending on a Broadway show, or a restaurant in Brooklyn, or a Yankees game. You're just moving money around the same city. But when you buy a $400 ticket from FIFA, that money doesn't stay in New York. It goes to Zurich, and it never comes back. And this isn't just bad luck. It's a pattern. Researchers at the University of Toronto studied every World Cup going back decades. Their finding? 12 of the last 14 World Cups produced net economic losses for their host regions. 12 out of 14. That's not a coincidence. That's the business model working exactly as designed. Brazil spent somewhere between $11 and $14 billion on the 2014 World Cup. They built stadiums in cities that didn't even have professional soccer teams. Today, one of those stadiums is a bus parking lot. Another sits mostly empty, maintained by a fraction of its original staff. Qatar spent $220 billion on the 2022 World Cup. The stadiums they built are now being dismantled because Qatar doesn't need 8 world-class stadiums. It's a country of 2.8 million people. Now, I'm not telling you this to make you angry at soccer. The World Cup is incredible. The games, the moments, the stories, that's all real. But when you hear politicians and newspapers telling you that hosting these events is an economic win for your city, you now know what questions to ask. Who's paying, who's profiting, and who's left holding the bill? The only way to support this content is to like and subscribe to my channel. It motivates me to keep making videos. So the next time someone tells you about the economic miracle of hosting a mega event, remember this: FIFA is a non-profit organization. It expects to bring in $11 billion this summer. You're paying for the security, the transportation, the stadium renovations. And the cities hosting the games are losing money on purpose because they signed contracts that were designed to make them lose. The question isn't whether the World Cup is good for FIFA. It's obviously great for FIFA. The question is whether it's good for you. And I think by now, you can answer this question yourself. I hope you learned something today, and I'm pretty sure you'll think about this differently the next time you hear the words economic impact study.